Well, yeah, there's still something wrong with Twitch. It's still showing some error. But it's weird
Weird.
because if you go back to the one from yesterday, it's there. It just, I guess there's some kind of error where like you could hear us talking, but it doesn't display it.
Strange.
Yeah, well, not a big deal. We're on the other two platforms, so it's not a problem. Okay, so we're good on YouTube, and let's check Facebook. Let's see.
I don't remember what I have to do for work today. What am I doing?
Yeah, I keep forgetting your time offset. I was like, I can't believe you're up so early.
Oh, yeah, it's Monday morning. Wake up, look at the design that you thought was okay in ZBrush that night, and you're like, what have I done?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Like, what the hell is
It's like
this?
I thought it looked way better in my head, but it doesn't look better in real life.
In a dream, I was done.
Yes, that happens too often.
It was all a dream.
All right, I guess we have 3 people on there, which is nice. And let's see. How's it going, everybody? Whoever's out there, let us know if you guys can hear us. Everything sounds fine.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Eric? I'm just making some kind of monster, some kind of Cthulhu-like thing. I don't know. Just fun stuff.
You show up that sweet octopus reference?
Oh yeah, I need to. Yeah, let's show some of that stuff.
I feel like I haven't gotten to fully enjoy the Lightbox Expo.
Yeah, me too. I haven't had a chance to check that out. So
I hope are they linking the talks so you can watch them later since it was free anyway?
I've been seeing them just pop up on YouTube like randomly, but not the ones that I want to check out. Like it's just kind of random. So I guess I need to search for those, or I'm not sure where they're going to be at.
I hope they do because I was like, by the time I got some free time, I was like, I don't think I have the energy to look on the internet right now. I just want to zone out, watch more, whatever I find. I feel like I've run out of Netflix. I don't know what's going on. There's this new show about organizing
Oh,
on Netflix. I don't know if I like it yet, but it seems like it's sharing a pattern of something that I would like. I'm just unsure where these I guess these ladies from Instagram are like professional organizers,
oh, really?
and they go in and organize your house. But it's not quite like Marie Kondo. It's more interactive, more like I guess it's more like Queer Eye, where they like surprise people. People are like nominated to have their closets fixed, and then and they come in and surprise them and clean their closets instead of Marie Kondo's, you know, methods, which was she tells you how to do it and then she goes away and you surprise her with how clean it is.
Oh, that's kind of cool. What's the name of the show again?
Funny. This new one is called, oh God, what is it called? I just watched a little bit of it. Figure it out. It's called like, it's not obvious. I can't remember. Something to do with design or the big house project or something like that. Like, or they organize where their students' closet or something. I don't know. I felt like I needed it because for some reason I'm obsessed with watching that kind of reality TV where it's fixing or like organizing somebody's home or like making a nicer space or making a new restaurant, you know, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I've been watching some weird shows on YouTube actually. Like this one called like Parking Wars. It's just like
Tell me what that is.
like just people that are they get upset at people that get tickets and they're the ones doing everything wrong. You know, like parking in the wrong parking spots or handicap spots. And you know, like this guy will give them a ticket and they'll come out and like yell at them. And you're like, what's going on here? These people are like not reading signs and like not paying attention, but you know.
The show is from the people who are the parking wardens or from the people that are messing up?
From the people, the parking wardens.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like random. It's like they go to different cities and like different areas and just kind of, that's what they do. You know, they're just parking enforcement and that's their job. But people, everybody hates them. Even if they see them walking by, people yell at them and, you know, tell them bad things.
That's their job.
Yeah.
They didn't ask. They didn't ask for this. No, I mean, it's just like all this stuff. The stuff that's going on where people just are forgetting to be a person.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't matter what you believe. If you're not being like nice to each other, like, what's the point of anything?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. People seem to be operating from, I don't know what it is, fear, entitlement, something like that. Wild stuff I've been seeing. And then seeing it from across the ocean is really weird too.
Mm.
Completely different perspective when you're watching it from afar. You know what's really funny too is New Zealanders, I guess this is true of most countries I've been to, they know all about our politics and our situation.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we know nothing about their stuff.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I met so many people that they're from other places. They're like, so they know all this stuff, and I'm like, I know nothing about your country. I feel bad.
Yeah. Like, wait, where was I during that day? It wasn't like I wasn't paying attention that day at school. I mean, maybe they just like mention names and then there's like no connection. Like if there's, you know, talking about at the very least, the British prime ministers, right?
Right. Hey, how's it going, Christopher? Good morning to you too. Have you been playing any new games? Or any games at all?
The only games I've been playing are, because I only have a Switch. So I've just been playing Animal Crossing and Mario Kart 8 and there's this game called Telling Lies that's pretty great. It's like an interactive storytelling kind of thing that you kind of just solve. It's like with real actors and you just have access. You don't know who you are, but you just have access to a terminal. And that terminal, you can search keywords and then videos come up. And all the videos are like little snippets of something, like a conversation from a webcam
Oh,
or a phone. And you don't know who's talking to who. And you're trying to like figure out what this mystery is. It's pretty good. And it has that guy, that upgrade guy in it.
oh, great. Oh, that I never watched that movie. That's where he's like super fast and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like he looks like Tom Hardy, but he's not.
Okay, yes,
He's
yes, I know who you're talking about.
the guy from I guess he's in Prometheus too, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's what it's Animal Crossing all the way. That's what kept me sane. I've kind of fallen off recently, but yeah, I love that stuff. What about you? Any games?
Um,
Did you play Last of Us yet?
no, I bought those games. I bought all the Last of Us like 2 years ago, and I haven't played any of them. They're still shrink wrapped. And I was gonna buy this new one, and then I'm like, I haven't even played the old one, so I can't buy the new one yet.
Right.
But the only one I have been playing on and off when it came out was Doom Eternal, because I could just kind of jump in there for like 10 minutes and like kill some people and then get out. You know?
Just jump on in, kill some people.
Yeah, just for fun. We were doing that for like for work, like just kind of playing for like on Friday afternoons or whatever. So that's the game we kind of picked. So I was like, all right, I'm cool with that. That works for me.
Okay.
But other than that,
You guys,
I haven't played anything. I wish I had more time. But one of these days, I don't know.
I mean, you got enough on your plate.
Yeah, what's funny is that we're watching all these documentaries, and then one came out for Mario Brothers. I guess it's like 25th anniversary, and Zenith saw it, and she's like, "I want to play that." I'm like, "Okay." Now I have an excuse to take out my little Nintendo. I bought one of those little tiny ones. They came out like 2 years
Yeah.
ago or whatever, and I played it when I bought it for like a day, and then now I actually have a use for it. She can play it.
Nice. Yeah. It's really those games are really fun to play. And if your kids are interested too, I'm sure that's amazing. I can't wait for my niece to like start caring about that stuff. It's gonna be really fun
Yeah, it brings you
because I
back,
think
right?
she's
It like
already.
brings you back to like the when you used to play it. Like for me, like I completely forgot until I was watching some of the gameplay on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to love playing this stuff," and I would just play it over and over and over and over until I'd like fell asleep.
Yeah, I remember playing Mario Kart all weekend and then being like, I think I missed some jump somewhere and like I lost my mind and it was like, I don't know, we would just do that until forever.
Yeah, those are fun
I love that
times. I
stuff.
never had like I never had a what is it? I only had Nintendo. I went with the Sega Genesis instead of going with like Super Nintendo at the time. So I never played the rest of the Nintendo like games. Like the N64 and all those other Mario games. So I'm kind of interested if she gets into it, then I might go back and buy some of those old school like GameCube and all that old stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be. I remember too. Like I think it was Star Fox. I was
See,
obsessed with
I
getting
never
Star
played that, and
Fox.
I always wanted to, but I didn't have one the system, so I never played that at all.
Well, I used to go to before I could afford a N64. I think I was saving up. I forgot like how I was even saving up. Um, like where was I getting this money? But um, I remember I went to Toys R Us like all the time to play on
Ah, okay.
the demo for Star Fox.
Yeah, I never
It was
played
still
that
like,
or what is it, 007, the GoldenEye? I never played that either.
oh
Yeah, so
really?
for me, it's like a lot of those. It's like I remember seeing people play them, but I never played them myself. So it'll be nice to kind of go back and try some of that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's I mean, I don't know how you'll like them now as a more sophisticated game user, but back in the day it was like the best.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's some stuff I might not be able to go back to, but I think like NES, like side scrollers, I think I'm okay with, but maybe the 3D ones, maybe not so much.
Oh yeah. You don't want to hang out with some 128 pixel textures.
No, it hurt my eyes.
Like I remember the Star Fox spaceship being incredible, and I'm talking Star Fox 64.
Mm.
And I was just like, wow, this is like so cool. And I saw it recently. I'm like, it's like the smallest digital thing that you could ever see. Like the text is barely visible.
Yeah, I was watching. I guess I'm not sure if it's the N64 Mario or one of those, and I guess he has to jump into pictures, but the pictures are so
Oh
blurry. I'm
yeah.
like, it's so blurry. It's like a 64 by 64 pixel image or something, you know?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love that game too. Um, it was Mario 64. When he has to jump in the paintings in the castle.
Yeah, for me, I went once I went Genesis, I like got the Game Gear as well. So for me, it was more about Sonic and like Mortal Kombat and those other games that Altered Beast and all the I guess Sega related games.
Right. I had a friend that had all the Sega stuff, and then like eventually like PlayStation and all that. And then I was the one with the Nintendo stuff.
Uh, yeah, back in the days, it's like you pick one system and that's that's where you go with. And now it's like you could have everything. Just a matter of having time to actually play it.
Yeah. Yeah. The time, right? Like, when was the last time that you just sat down and listened to a new album of music and didn't do anything else?
Never. It's been. I don't even remember. Maybe in high school. What about you?
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. I mean, one time I tried to do that just to, try something new, or at least appreciate something a little bit more because now I feel like, oh, I'm not like not catching up with the music that I used to catch up with. Or I'm not like appreciating it
Mm-hmm.
quite as much, and I think that's a big reason because I used to just like listen to something on repeat forever and memorize all the songs and because I would have that one album for a really long time. I wouldn't have access to every album of all time ever, with Spotify. So
Oh, that's very true. Yeah, I remember having to go to Tower Records and it's like wait for the next release, and it's like maybe months or weeks.
exactly, Tower Records.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day, Sam Goody,
Yeah.
got my Suncoast. Wait a million years for all the anime to come out on VHS
Oh
on the
yeah.
Suncoast.
Or you have to go. Yeah, the Sun Coast. Oh yeah, I remember that. Or going to. I used to have to go to like conventions, like the one in downtown LA. I forgot what it's called, but it's like a monthly one. And you get like the knockoff anime that somebody bootlegged, and that was the only way to like get the anime.
Bootlegged anime. Oh, that's so funny. It's true.
Even anime, I haven't been catching up with any new stuff. I wish I would be more into it, but it's tough.
Nah, I have. I mean, the only thing I've done recently is I started because Hulu has Cowboy Bebop on it,
Mm.
so I was rewatching Cowboy Bebop, and guess what? It's still amazing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, the last thing I watched was like One Punch Man. That's the last thing I watched. It was kind of cool, and then I forgot about it and I stopped watching it.
Oh yeah, I never started it because I think there was like a point. I'm trying to remember what the last anime show I saw where I was like, it's really hard to find when you find the good ones, they're really good. But I guess I kind of lost patience for finding like the ones that were kind of growing up with me
Mm.
instead of remaining the same kind of like high school tropes or whatever. Um, and I don't know. I I think I just started watching like the movies when they would come out on a yearly basis. Um, like like for example, um, like Redline when that came out.
Hmm.
Redline was really cool. And then I just didn't watch any shows. Movies like the latest, whatever the Ghibli movie that came out, or that one guy who makes all the the pretty movies that I think aren't. They're okay. They're just like they're very pretty, but they're the guy who did like Your Name, if you ever saw those.
No, I don't think I did.
It was a huge hit. It was a big romance, but it's very pretty. I can't remember his name, but it's usually those kinds of things that I watch. I need to get back into some shows because I think I gave it a chance sometime and the show was so bad. I can't even remember what it was, but it was something that I was like, ooh, like I grew out of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for other shows, anime shows that are like, I don't know, something that I can relate to.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens,
Now,
right? You
it's
kind of
like,
grow out of them, and then you're kind of like, I don't really need to watch that.
maybe I'll come back. It'll come back, but I think I was in a place where I was like, I don't need this. But you know what? Cowboy Bebop is timeless.
Yeah, I used to. There was one time that I was just watching everything that was anime as soon as I can get it, and I just kind of, I guess, watched too much of it that I was like, all right, I'm done with anime for a while. Like, I don't want to watch anything.
Yeah, I think you'll find your way back when something really good comes out. They had a re-release of a theatrical release of Perfect Blue from Satoshi
Oh,
Kon
okay.
uh, before I left. I think it was like the fall before I left, and it was so cool to see it. It's like a perfect thriller. His movies are great. I was like really sad when he died
Hmm.
because all of his the possibilities for all of like the stuff he would make eventually um, just disappeared with him, unfortunately. And his films were like incredible.
All right, Christopher asked if we watch Attack the Titans. Yes, that's another one that I watched. I think like 2 years ago. That was pretty good too.
Yeah, that was one that made it through. All those giants were so like terrible. Like, I mean, I guess the story's great, and the giants are just so like grotesque. Did you ever try to do fan art or anything on those?
No, it might be cool to make my own version of it.
Yeah. Oh, I love Simon Lee's version.
The other one that I watched too, I guess I watched the movie was I think Gantz 2.0 or something like that.
Oh, it's like a live action one, or
Well, I watched both. Right? I watched the live action, and there was like a CG one that was all like it's kind of Final Fantasy quality, but maybe not. You know, some scenes were way better than others, but it was interesting.
uh, worth it?
Worth it for the monsters because they're so different.
Okay.
So it's kind of worth watching. Some of them are cool. Some of them are you're like, wow, that's kind of so weird that I don't know where it fits in. I don't know if it's cool or not.
It's cool.
You know, it's just it's just like it's so weird that you're like, okay, this is it went beyond the line. It kind of it's funny now instead of like serious.
I see. I see. I think I was getting that with oh, there was some other show. I can't remember what it was. It's something to do with I think when I was younger I would have loved it. And then when I saw it now, I was like, I've seen this trope a million times. Get out of my face. It's some kind of like sci-fi thing with, I guess, kind of like an X-Files vibe.
Oh, I used to love the X Files.
Yeah, that stuff. I love that stuff. But this one was like the anime version,
Mm.
so it was like extra weird and violent, which is awesome. But I think I had grown past the idea of the novelty of just weirdness being what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes anime can be weird and not good, and I think it was that way in this case. But I love it when it's weird and amazing. You know, like when the good ones come out, like that's when lives change, Miguel. That's when
Life changing
your
events.
perspective change.
Yeah.
Like foreign films, you know, in general, I try to like watch a lot of those because
Yeah,
the
I just
perspective
watched one
is
that
so
was
good.
on Netflix about I guess a zombie apocalypse type of thing, but like this guy and this girl,
Busan?
maybe I'm not sure. I don't remember the name actually, but it was. I just watched it a few days ago where like this kid's he's in an apartment and he can't leave the apartment, and then he meets a girl across the street. I think it's called Alone actually. I think that's the name of the movie.
Oh, okay. This isn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was
No.
thinking.
I wanted the what is it? Train to Busan or what something like that, right? Like the part two.
Yeah, that's. Oh
That
man,
one.
there's a sequel.
Yes, that one I wanted to watch. I think that one was really good. I can't wait to watch the new one that's coming out, or I think it's already out maybe.
Yeah, it's out in the theaters here. I didn't get a chance to catch it, but I'm gonna try.
So if you guys are
Make
watching,
it outside.
kind of what I'm doing, I'm placing like Cheerios on this guy's face. Um, I'm just kind of trying to figure out if it's even worth spending much time, kind of putting some of those suckers in his mouth. In case you guys are wondering why I'm doing this, I feel like they're kind of a waste of time because you don't see them much. But I might take a different approach. I just kind of want to see what they look like. Somebody was asking also about Death Note. If we have watched Death Note, I think I seen the live action one, and it kind of I didn't watch all of it, and it just kind of threw me off. I was like not into it.
No, nobody likes it. I think I would like it. But that was like in that period that I had mentioned where I was like, oh, what's good? Um, and I was like kind of exploring other like avenues for avant-garde cinema. So, um, yeah, I need to get back to that. You know what my biggest shame is, and everyone's gonna be shocked, absolutely shocked. I still haven't, and everyone keep it a secret. Don't tell anybody. I still haven't seen the Last Airbender show.
The show, huh? Mm, I haven't seen. No, I don't think I've seen it either.
Have you not?
No,
It's all streaming on Netflix, and it keeps looking at me, and it's like, "Girl, you haven't seen this yet." And I'm like, "I know, leave me alone."
I just watched the movie, and just because my daughter wanted to watch it, but I was kind of like, I don't know about this.
Well, the movie is notorious for being no good,
Okay.
or at least not good compared to the television series. I'm obsessed with Adventure Time and Steven Universe now, and well, I mean it's over, kind of over, but all that kind of stuff. Those creators.
Oh,
There's excuse me.
there's one other one you have to watch, Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast. You need to watch that. I think you'll like it. I only seen a few
Remind me
episodes,
to.
but it's really weird and it's pretty cool characters, and yeah, I think you'll dig it.
Oh, cool. I'll ask you about that later because that name was quite a mouthful.
Yes. I only started watching it because my daughter was watching. I'm like, what are you watching? What is this? And it's like it's a frog, like these reservoir frogs looking people. They're like trying to like detectives or FBI agents are trying to capture some bug thing, and I don't know the whole story, but it seems pretty cool and really weird. So I like it because it's so out there.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff these days. And did you see the new Pendleton Ward show, the um, Midnight? Uh, what is it called? Midnight something.
Mm,
And it's all Duncan Trussell's
I was
crazy
just gonna
podcast
ask about
conversation.
that if it was Duncan Trussell. I remember him saying he was working something with him.
Yeah, it's called the Midnight Gospel, and it's like animated versions of their conversations, and the animation's insane. It's really cool looking,
Oh
and
yeah, it does look cool. I'm looking it up now because I have no idea what you were talking about, but it looks pretty
yeah,
cool.
check it out.
It reminds me like there's a
Pretty
lot of like lemon grab type of characters that are creepy. I
exactly.
love those
Very
guys.
living. It's so funny. It's like you can tell the personality of someone whether or not they like lemongrass.
Yeah, Lemongrab is like my favorite, especially when he has those little dungeon people or whatever he has, those little hidden characters. It's like,
Yeah, he has like a bunch of horrible creations
yeah,
that he just keeps in there. I love how horrifying like the implications of what that character is.
yes.
They don't like address it right like head on. But did you watch all of Adventure Time? Did you watch like the end, the finale, and everything?
No, no, I want to say I haven't watched all of them. When I watched them not in order, so I kind of need to go back and watch them in order because I have no idea.
I see, I see. It's really good.
Oh yeah, the Frog Mafia. Is that what it is? Sorry, I was calling them like Reservoir Dogs. So they're like all wearing black suits, but I guess it's called like the Frog
The
Mafia.
Frog Mafia.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely need to watch it. I think you'll dig it.
Something new. Something new to watch because I'm out of Netflix and I'm watching closet shows. And I need to finally watch Airbender because I don't know what my problem is.
Yeah, cause there's like a series. There's like a second season, right? Where like a girl or something like that, like a different Airbender or somebody else with powers.
There's like it won a bunch of awards and it looks really cool. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that somewhere, but I haven't watched any of it yet. So
Yeah, me
I'm
either.
looking forward to that. Um, if anyone wants to know what I'm doing, I'm just trying to shape this weird head, and I'm probably going to end up conjoining it a little bit differently than what I started here, and make it a little bit more realistic and sinister. Like, I mean, I know it's not like it's not the cow's fault that it was fused, but it's really fun to kind of see that skull shape and like perceive it as a little bit sinister. I might play with that idea. I love the look of I think in the first Lord of the Rings when they first showed like a Nazgul, a skeleton horse guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is everything.
Yeah, like I want one of those
it.
on my desk.
Yes, I love those Nazguls. Oh, did you hear? There's a podcast called Newcomers. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Super funny. It's like, it's two female comedians, Nicole Byer and Lauren Lapkus, and they are going through all these like beloved, like cult. I guess it's not cult. It's very popular stuff. Like they did a whole season on Star Wars, and they're doing a whole season on Lord of the Rings now, because they have never seen any Star Wars or seen any Lord of the Rings, and they're approaching it from new eyes, and it's not them shitting on it, it's like it's more them trying to understand because they bring on a guest that actually really loves it, and they go through each movie, and it's them trying, and it's so funny to watch them like try to like figure out all this nerd knowledge that we already have, and then when they hear another like really excited fan talk about it, they like get more excited about it, and it's like a nice way to relive the series.
Okay, I'm looking.
And it's
it
just
up
funny
now.
too because they
Trying to
go
add it.
fan.
Is it a one word or is it two words? Because I found one that has one word and like newcomers, and it doesn't seem to be the one you're talking about.
It should be pretty obvious because it's like a picture of them as in cosplay.
Oh, so it's definitely not that one. This one just has a circle with like NC on it. Cool. I'll look it up. It seems like a cool podcast to listen to.
Oh, it's fun, and they even watch like that Wookiee Christmas special. Like it gets into the deep cuts. Walk movie too, which I don't think I've even seen. Oh, but anyway, the reason why I brought that up is because me remembering all those Nazgul beasts and the ring wraiths and stuff. I was like, this is awesome.
So sorry if I'm missing some of you guys' comments. It's like they're not coming through my restream, so I'm kind of going back to check all the platforms.
okay. I don't know if I love it, but I'm just gonna go with it. I'll just like, I'll just go with it.
Just go with it, you know. If you feel it, do it. If not, then trash it.
Exactly. With it and deal with it if it doesn't work later.
Yep.
All right, awesome. So now what I'm gonna do is just polygroup the head and the jaw. So like auto group that, and then I'll group head. Actually, we'll lasso that. And I'll do that thing that I told you about the other day. Control Shift D.
Oh yeah.
My sub tool, and then delete hidden, and then I can close my holes.
Close them holes.
And then I have to close those holes, and then this guy's ready for action, and I can say auto groups and have the jaw separated here. And I can move this head and make him a little scarier. It's funny because I remember when we first met, I think I was way more into the, or at least I'm still into it for sure, but way more into the like the real monstery creatures, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you were, and then kind of evolved to animals, more animal stuff, right?
Yeah, I think I kind of figured out what I wanted to do a little bit more. Maybe that was what it was. Because I've always wanted to. I always liked animals, like going to the zoos and stuff as a kid. Like my favorite things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always been a thing, and then like being obsessed with stuff like Lion King, and when I was a little girl, I don't know if I told you this, but when I was a really little girl, my mom asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said I wanted to be a dog. Like as if it's a job.
You know, I want to be a
She's
professional
like,
dog. You know, it's cool.
exactly. I'm like I'm apprenticing with my grandma's dog.
teaching me the
I've been
ropes and stuff. You know.
So I don't know. I've always been kind of obsessed with like animals, and I just didn't know how that would have related to my career. When I'm looking at like my I was also looking at like the people who were like really influential at that time to me, and you know it's people like Jordu and like Carlos Fuente and who else, like all, and Giger, of course, like all of the monster designers, and I'm like, this is
What
awesome.
about Brahm? Everybody forgets about Brahm.
Oh yeah, Brahm.
You know why? I only remember because I used to have his books, and I used to watch, like look at them all the time. And then I think a few years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, he did a Kickstarter, and I was like, oh my god, I completely forgot about that guy. And I used to like look at his stuff all the time, you know.
Oh man, yeah, I have his book. One of them from, I think it's Flesk Productions. Yeah, his stuff's great, and I love Guy Davis.
Oh yeah.
That kind of stuff's incredible. And I was like obsessed with that idea, or like the idea of making stuff like that, and I still like it a lot. But I found that going back, I think I was doing what a lot of students do. That I noticed where they like go straight to the experimentation part without getting back to that foundational part.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like when you subdivide your Z tool 100 million polys,
Right.
and think and put details all over it, and then it's like, but the underlying forms are actually what matters,
Yeah, they're all trash, and you're like, oh, look at all these details. Like, it looks bad.
Yeah, but you get obsessed because ZBrush is so like nice and fluid, and like it's so much fun to use, and then it tricks you because the details look great, and it always looks great in the ZBrush viewport. But then when you back up, and this is why I love stuff like I love Geo's work. Um, Foundationally, all of the shapes work from a distance, and he doesn't need any of the details. Like it just works. The forms work. The light hits everything in the right way. Um, the silhouette works, and I think when I went back to sculpting real animals and really like buckling down and learning that first, and then figurative sculpture and stuff of people, that's when the crazier stuff got better.
Mm. Yeah, I know what you mean. I used to suffer from the Alice P. Lumpy Space Princess sculpting. That's what I would think every time I have like my model. I would just be like, "Is it lumpy? Okay, go fix that." Like I kept, like when I was earlier in my career, I would just kind of put detail like you were saying, and then it's like I didn't think about that till way later. I was seeing, I was like, "Oh, it looks terrible." Like there's like no bone structure or no continuous like forms. They were like kind of broken by all the lumps. So now, like, I spend so much more time on that because, like, even the details take no time. Alphas, and even if you hand detail it, takes a quarter of the time of that. But I'm always constantly looking at those little lumps. Even now, I'm just like fixing some of those things that I thought were good, and then move around. It's like, oh yeah, there's a lump there. Fix that.
Yeah, absolutely. The lumps, that's the problem. LSP, that's a great way to put
Yeah,
it.
the LSP,
It's like
LSP syndrome.
that LSP syndrome. Oh my goodness, that's totally what it is. I totally had that too, and I constantly, it's a constant war, pushing that together, um, and but that's what is going to make the difference between like kind of like more amateur work versus professional work. I think is pushing that, making sure all of your lines are so clean. Even if you have a style and there's form and there's like organic and organic shapes and there's curves and stuff, if your stuff is lumpy, or let me put it this way: if at any stage you don't feel like a piece of your sculpture is finished, quote unquote, and I mean like from the like lowest polygonal phase kind of look, like the really low poly triangle look, that can look amazing, right?
Yep.
If the shapes are right. So if you can sell, I do this thing. If I can sell my work at Pure One Imports, I think I'm okay.
That's a good way to put it.
Basics, basic shapes. Does it make its way into an accent part of my home? Or what? So yeah, I've kind of conjoined these heads, where like one of them is a little bit more awkward, which I kind of like, because they're just like they're not quite right.
Yeah, one has to be the leader, the other one has to be the follower, right? Like no matter what.
Yeah, it's really hard to make an elegant looking conjoined twin that is also organic looking, maybe not robotic. Since this does occur in nature, it's always good to take from that.
Yep, the Alice P syndrome. That's something that I always like tell people, or some people don't know about Adventure Time, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like, okay, just lumpy. Does it look like cottage cheese? And there's like it's everywhere, and it's like, oh yeah, it's broken. Then fix that first.
I hope you start doing the voice at them.
Yes, one day.
You're just like, LSP.
I've never been good at voices, so I never tried to do them. Maybe I should start doing that. I'll probably creep my kids out.
Oh, I bet they'd love it. Do they watch Adventure Time yet?
No, they haven't. But they have watched. What is it called? Rick and Morty. So, but I kind of stopped them because when she didn't understand enough, I would let her watch it. But now I don't. Like the last season, I haven't watched because it's like she's picking up on everything. It's like no, this is too crazy for her.
Oh yeah, yeah. I feel like she knows too much.
Yes, she's just like a sponge. Everything I have to watch what I'm watching around her. Like I've been trying to watch the Boys, the season 2, but I have to not watch it with her. I have to watch like when she goes to sleep. They just cuss too much, and it's like she'll start picking up on that.
Like, you don't want her school to come back to you and be like, "What happened?"
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
She's been trash talking the other toddlers.
exactly. So it's like all right, let's not introduce you to that yet. That'll come 10 years later from now or something.
How is The Boys? I mean, I hear it's
It's
great.
good. I like it. I highly recommend it. You should check it out.
Well, I love Carl Urban, so.
It's like a dark version of DC Universe.
Okay. Dark version. I could show real quick. I have a explanation of knees and like how to sculpt knees. Um, if anyone cares, it's basically what I do is I'm using 3D vision, or I'm using X-ray vision to see this. Like the number one most important thing is to find that skeleton, right? So I'm gonna poly paint this so we can see. Let's do this. Knees. have a you have a femur bone. And your trochanter up here. And then you have your tibia. This tibia down here. So you have these two, basically these two bone condyles. The tibia is more like triangular, like this, very rough. So what I'm imagining is there's the bones here, and then there's the patella on top, and that patella is connected to the tuberosity of the tibia, right? So there's like that ligament that's attached there, and it's a lot. Actually, it's probably a lot deeper. It's probably about like this. With animals, like the angle of the bend is pretty high degree compared to humans, but it's all the same structure as a human. And then this is attached muscle here, right? So all of this is to say, and then something similar on the other side, right? So if we're going to say that this is from this view, and then we have the tibialis muscle, or the equivalent to it, same deal is on people. So I'm just thinking about the forms as if they're triangles, because if you have your silhouette correct, and you have it, because this is much longer than you think it is, like from the patella down to the tuberosity, it's going to be a much longer silhouette. So once you have that in place, and all you got to do, and if I obliterated all my detail here, if I have this, and I know that femur is here, and then the tibia is here, right? What I'm going to do, the only thing that I need to do is carve out that triangle on either side, right? So as soon as you do that, and I'll show you an example. Your knees are going to start to make sense. And then, of course, there's the consideration of, like, you know, getting the muscle taut from the patella and all that stuff, and then getting your offsets correct. But when you have that triangle in there, it feels like there's a form underneath the skin. So anyway, all that's just to say that's how I do knees. And then you can join it up with the tibialis. It's all the same. It's all the same stuff.
Nice.
Yay. I remember I was like so frustrated with joints. I had to do like this deep dive on them because I'm like, I better stop not knowing this. It's pretty bad. I mean, I even have I can open up an example file of something pretty cool. Let's see.
Yeah, we have Pritchard who just shares screen grab that he's watching us on his TV, which is awesome.
Oh, sweet. I'm trying to find this. Sorry, 1 second. Is it this one? Well, this is like a comparative anatomy thing, just to show man knees versus dog knees. It's all the same.
Nice. Good example.
I kind of color coordinated them so you can kind of see like how things are organized. They're just a little bit different, but it's all the same ideas, same kinds of forms. And I think paying attention to the shape of the actual condyle of the bone really helps like define those angles that you're looking for specifically. And I had another example as well. With a really crude bone in there. So you can see what I'm talking about with, and actually this bone is like a little whack. You know,
Oh, the apex is just a little lower, huh? Or it's supposed to be higher, but it's a little lower.
I think I just shoved it in there. But yes, this is what I'm talking about, this angle. And even here, what I have is like, it's going to be a lot. Something like that. But anyway, paying attention to the condyle shapes, and you can do something as crude as what I've done here. And this is like it's not great, but if you make your own little tibia and femur and everything, then you can really see what's going on under there. And you can see what negative space you need to take care of on the flesh, because the bone's not going to move, but the flesh will be affected by what's going on under there. So that's kind of how I think about it. 2 little triangles, because that's just this angle here. Yeah, knees. Yay. I thought it was important to bring up because I think that's a big trouble spot, and for me for years.
Yeah, I think I still have that issue too. I need to practice them a little more.
Uh, it takes a while to like wrap your head around it, but sometimes I'll look at dog X-rays too. I have a whole thing here. Hold on. Let's see. I have some teaching tools here, and some joint examples. So this is if I do like lectures and stuff. This is how I approach talking about it. And yet I'm gonna keep pressing the issue on these triangles.
Cool.
And look how deep that angle is at that bend. And keep in mind, this is a human knee, but keep in mind that there is that offset. Because that kind of offset is going to be similar to a dog knee. So all those beautiful like curves on a human leg are going to be reflected into the dog on the dog as well. So look at this guy. Like, or this guy even. The curves, offsets of a human leg, right, are going to be similar in the figure. All the same kind of organization and the order of movement when you're thinking about locomotion and like how this guy's going to move. Like we're both mammals with the same kind of skeleton, and we have to move in the same way because we live on Earth. So all those things stacked, if they're all on offsets, those stacks will like average out and like keep you balanced instead of everything being rigid and straight, right? You want all these like curves to wrap around your piece. And it's just natural that way anyway. That's just like behind the scenes of my brain when I'm like doing this stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's really good pro tip.
Pro tip. I mean, it just takes some. It takes a lot of observation and just kind of playing around with your own pieces, and then doing another one and then throwing it out, and then doing another one and throwing that one out. Like Simon says, yep. Right? I'm not interested in your like all the skulls that you make. I'm interested in the like 100th skull that you make. Because those other ones are good, and you need to know that. And like the sooner you get through them, like and fail, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to start doing details today, but I'm kind of refining a lot of the shapes that I'm looking at through, flipping the stuff upside down and rotating around and seeing, like, getting rid of any straight lines and making sure there's always some kind of small little S-curve to some of this stuff so it doesn't feel so dead and flat. And I'll show you guys. I'm doing this stuff in layers so you guys can also see, like, some of the design changes that I decided to kind of tweak. Just in case, like, I changed something so much and I'm like, oh, it looked better before. Like one thing that was kind of bothering me from like the beginning from this morning was that I thought looked cool yesterday, but today it doesn't look that cool. Is the back of the head? I was kind of separating to be like a giant sack, and it didn't feel right. It felt like it had no structure holding it. Where now I feel like it feels more like it's part of the that giant ridge. See, so if I go back and forth, you see the big changes, and that's the nice power of like having the subdivisions, right? That I can go back and tweak a lot of this stuff. Um, but we had this ridge that looked kind of cool, like another separation, another breakup of a giant form, but it made no sense. I guess it looked like it was flowing right, but it just doesn't work. So I just kind of changed that and made that like a just like a big form in the back, and give him a little bit more of a forehead too, because it looked fine from the front, but from the side it lost way too much volume. So just kind of you guys can see how much it changed. And I think those are the things that make a big difference, right? Like I could have jumped to the detail, but then if that wasn't right, something would have bothered me that I know was that I would have to change. So it's better to just spend the time now changing it than waiting for later, or printing it out and be like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah, it's like a fine line, right, between um, having that like that product, like that goal that you know that you need to hit um, in order to make things your life easier for yourself in a production world, right? Your goal is to print it, so you're like, I don't want to make this a mess for myself later. Um, there's like a whole uh, there's a fine line of difference in thinking when you're like you're producing something, you're manufacturing something, or you're making something for a process that isn't like, in my case, my process is messier because I'm not going to print
Mm.
it and I have no plans. So it's like a lot less of the, I don't want to make it hard for myself later stuff only because I have no purpose for it later, but you're doing it in a very disciplined and smart way where um, you can save a lot of headaches. And there's like great tips to like um, save headaches you know that are going to happen in the future.
Yeah,
And in my case, it's like the difference between having someone like manufacturing something uh, or like getting something prepped for you know whatever production that you're trying to do versus I am just playing with Play-Doh right now, literally. Like that's it's like the difference in what our goals are at this
yeah.
moment.
Especially, I think a lot of sometimes people see this and they're like, "Oh, that's what you do for production for movies." Like, no, this is a different part of that. You know, this is more like designing and exploring the shapes and looking at back and forth between anatomy and design and figuring out what works, as opposed to like, oh, this is ready to go for production. It's like, no, this is not ready at all. This is ready for this purpose. I could repurpose it to make it production ready, but that's not my goal at the moment.
Yep, exactly.
Where I think some people with younger people
Yeah.
get this confusion. It's like, oh, that's what you're doing, and that's what you're gonna do to retopologize it. And anime, it's like, no, it will be completely different pose. None of the technicals will be the way they are now. You know, it will have to be kind of very different. But this is just kind of
Yes.
design, so it's a little different pipeline.
Don't be fooled by what we're doing right now in thinking that it's we would do anything at work. Or never would do this at work because you have to get that to someone else down the line. Um, so you're not gonna make the same choices that you would make for your personal work because it's for it has to work in production. So all this stuff, this like being messy and definitely much more meticulous
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff that I'm
when it
thinking
comes.
about this right now as I'm adjusting it, I'm thinking like the way bananas grow and like the way they hang from each other, you know, like they have one root and they all just kind of fight for space, but they all have their own way of twisting and turning to kind of fit together. That's what I'm thinking about, even though I'm doing tentacles, you know.
How often do you think about the way bananas grow?
All the time.
All the time. It's funny when you need to come up with ideas, especially at work. It's so funny, like when they come up with design prompts. Like you got to come up with that not like at a pace that you think you would. It's almost like we need an idea really quick, please, like you know, and it's you have to kind of come from a place, and you know, Miguel and I are such nerds about the natural world, that it's we like expose ourselves to a lot of you know, anatomy and like weird stuff, like deformations in nature, and like um, we were just talking about horrible surgeries and uh, you know, remembering what kind of rare fish in the you know that can survive in frozen area, you know, like try to watch as many nature documentaries as possible, because there's going to be that one day when that level of recall is going to come in to helping you with cellar design um, at work.
And a lot of it comes from the experiences we have too, because we have gotten designs that people thought would work, and once we actually pipe them through the whole pipeline, then they don't. They fall apart certain places, and we have to figure out how to make them functional. So getting that experience is really, really helpful, because then we could see that as we're designing here as well, and kind of start changing course to make it functional as well if we needed to, or you know, just make it look like it's right, and make sure that it could potentially work, as opposed to like just shoving another arm in, and it's like, well, how's that going to work with when you can't really fit another arm in there, or whatever, another head, or whatever it may be.
Exactly. Or like the range of motion of a scapula. That's a huge one, because designers love to play with that. And I get it. They're a really fun part to play. But when you're selling it to a client, it's different from when you're trying to make it work for animation. So you're going to have to break it. And a lot of designs have to be broken in that way. Once they get to someone like us who's going to take the concept, whether it be 2D or 3D, and translate it into a production asset, that range of motion of the scapula is usually a big issue, because it's such a cool, it's like, you know, it's such a broad area of the back to play with, for a designer, that the consideration, I'm sure they are considering it, but you know, it's form over function when it comes to their job, because they want to sell something that looks cool, and then it's our jobs to figure out where can we compromise, where do we just need to make it work, and that comes with a lot of back and forth between you and your rigging
Yeah,
department.
even in things that you don't see much, like that you don't see, I guess, on top surface, but you do see on what's happening inside. Like one example of that, that now that you're bringing that up, was like when we were doing Spider-Man: Homecoming. He had to pull like this, I think, an elevator or something really heavy, and his arms were kind of dislocating from like the scapula, and it looked really weird. And we had to figure out like what is the limit. He can't, even though he's Spider-Man, he still can't push too much beyond what's real, or else it looks off. And that's where you have to kind of
I
dial
want
it
it to
in,
look
like
like,
how much realism versus how much superhero he's doing. You know?
yeah, I mean, do you want it to always look like Michael Jordan in Space Jam?
Yes, exactly.
The answer is yes.
I think they were making that, right? Isn't there like a new one they're shooting?
Oh yeah, I think it's
But LeBron James is like the main character, right?
maybe
Yeah.
LeBron. You know what's really funny is that I love that so much as a kid. Like Space Jam was amazing to me, and I watched it a million times. And I don't want to watch it again because I don't want that image to be ruined. Because I think if I watched it again, I don't know if I'd
Don't
like
watch it again. I
it.
recently watched it, and it has a lot
It's
of
terrible.
flaws.
Okay, that's what I thought, especially when there's like that How Did This Get Made podcast did an episode on it, and I'm like, what is this? And then they were describing it play by play, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I'm like, Oh, I guess it was dumb. I forgot how. I mean, it was before I was, you know, had any ideas about what makes a good movie. It was just like, this is fun. I'm a kid. This is like, and also a lot of. Do you watch that? How the toys we love or
Yes,
something?
I have
That
watched those.
documentary.
Yeah,
Isn't it crazy how everything is like was a really, really brilliantly, but
like sometimes it wasn't meant to be the
there's
thing that it became, right? Like it became such an epic thing, but it started off as a knockoff or it's just some quick idea somebody had to duplicate a toy.
but that's what I was trying to say. Like it was like it just started out as a really calculated measure to sell toys, and it kind of made me a little sad because I was like, it was only to sell toys. Like I remember really liking the stories of these cartoons, and I'm like, maybe they were just really dumb, and I don't
Yeah, like they
remember.
were just made
But
up
I
just to
love it.
make more money, and it's like, oh, there wasn't really artistry behind it or anything like that. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was like, wait, what? What do you mean? And it's inspired an entire generation, I think. Like
Yeah, definitely, we were some of those
all
people, you know.
these cartoons, 100%.
Yeah, you should watch. There, yeah, the Ninja Turtles one was interesting as well. Not sure if you saw that episode. That was kind of sad
Yeah,
because I'm
I
such a
saw
big
that.
fan of that. But
Yeah, but it's like a little calculated, which I was like, oh no.
yeah,
Those He-Man ones.
well, you know which one you
Um,
should watch. You were talking about. We were talking about Space Jam. Is that The Last Dance? You should definitely watch that. The Michael Jordan or the
oh,
Chicago Bulls
I need
documentary.
to.
It's revealing so much that I didn't know with Scottie Pippen and Jordan and all the other players. It's crazy.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I do need to sit down and watch that. Um, even as like a kid who didn't care about sports, Michael Jordan was definitely on the radar, like people I admired and like, loved the idea of like what he was achieving.
Yep, all that hard work.
And he's like incredibly charitable, right? Like, didn't he donate like like $100 million to um charity recently?
Yeah, I think so. Just it's insane how much. Well, also his work ethic, and what it takes to be him. It's excuse me. It's pretty crazy. Like
That dang. Oh, I get to pick up my sculptures
oh,
today.
nice.
So keep an eye out if you guys are interested at all. You can follow me on Instagram um, and find out more. I am picking up my bronzes today that were designed in ZBrush and a million other steps after that to get to this point. Um, and I'm putting together, you can see it on my page, putting together an entire making of just to describe the process because it's even more than, and Miguel and I, and Miguel knows even more because you do your own molding and casting and stuff. Um, I think you would even still be surprised by how much more work there is than you think.
Oh yeah, it seems like so much more work. But hey, when you love it, right? It's not a big deal. You just do it.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's just been, it's a really nice chill foundry, and the guy is like so cool about sharing every step with me, like showing exactly what's going on, letting me film it, and So like letting me do it myself if I can, like he'll show me how to do it and then let me take some tools home and like finish it.
Nice. That's cool.
Um, so that's been really a really cool thing just to see how it works. Yeah, I'm hoping it like I have this terrible little burner phone in New Zealand.
Burner phone. Wow.
Yeah, like I got it when I first got here just so that way I could get my utilities installed because I was like, I'm not gonna stay here for that long. Well, guess what? And it was like like a $20 phone, like a pay as you go
Mm.
kind of plan. And I'm still using it for businesses that I need to call in New Zealand locally and just for emergencies. But he sent me the picture of it of the final patina and it looks good, and I know it's going to be good because he's good, but I can't see it. The picture quality is so bad.
Oh, I see.
Like it's like a tiny little old Nokia level.
Your burner phone. For all them drug deals.
I'm a girl spy. Drug deals, how dare. I'm the one who knocks Miguel. Alright. He's cute. I wonder what else I should do. Do you have any
Let's
ideas?
see. It's looking pretty good. Trying to think what he can be doing.
I mean, I like the idea of making him a little bit awkward because they're my friends. They don't stand very confidently, and I can imagine when you have the weight of two heads on your shoulders.
It's even worse, right? Yeah.
I like that awkwardness. Maybe I'll just add some eyes and like poly paint real quick.
Does he have a tail? Oh.
Yeah.
Little tail. Awesome.
A little tail. Here
Nice.
we go. Just hiding in his butt. What did you see? Justice League trailer?
That's pretty cool. I think that little bit just helps, like, kind of like breaking that silhouette in the back.
Yeah, that does help. Helps his butt.
I feel like he should have like a little. These guys don't have like something on their back of their neck, like a little mohawk to make them look more evil or something, you know.
Yeah, maybe like well, he's missing ears and
Maybe some ears or yeah.
horns. Yeah, maybe I could try that. Try something like that.
That must hurt his neck when they're turning.
Yeah, I think it is. Bad. Oh, have you tried the cloth stuff?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't.
Oh, if you guys are interested, this is fun. Show you guys how it works. It's super easy, and I've already used it at work, and it's great. All you need is your sculpture, and then you can append whatever you want. We'll just do a plane for now. Oops.
I wish every time you create a new one, it would just go to the new object instead of always sticking to it. And I do the same thing all the time, where I just like start grabbing it. And it's like, oh, that's not the right one. I guess I'm so used to Maya when you create something new, you know.
You know, it's funny. The fact that it created it like what I just saw means my gravity is backwards. Oh, it doesn't matter. I think I can change that. So it's not super divided, but we can divide it one more time. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I hate when it does that. Where you're like, I'm not real. I'm not a real plane. I'm just here.
I'm not real. Why aren't you real? Okay. We're gonna make a horse blanket real quick because he's fancy like that. So just go to your Dynamics tab. Actually, I've never tried this set direction. I have a feeling it's gonna fly down or fly up, but let's try it. Collision volume, it will basically calculate. I think what it's doing is like making a volume, like a Dynameshed volume of every other subtool that's visible. And it'll inflate that unit of one, whatever that unit means. In the case here, I didn't have a scale, so I have no idea what that is, so we'll just test it. So if you say collision volume, it's going to run it, and then when you add stuff, you can keep recalculating, or you can recalculate after you change your inflate.
So it's making like a quick proxy shape, right? Like a dummy proxy of all the shapes you have.
Yeah, exactly. So then when you run your simulation, that's it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I want to use this for my I'm making my own house elf. So I want to actually print them out like life size, like 3 or 4 feet tall. So I might actually do the torn up clothes, with this.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you should. And then you can like move it. It's really good too, because like if you have, let's say you modeled it in Marvelous or whatever. Let me just run the simulation real quick. If you have it in Marvelous and you bring it in here, your edge lengths won't change. I mean, that's the whole point, right? So you can go in and do sculpting. So I can even and use these cloth brushes, and there's a whole bunch of different ones, and they still consider your collision object as your.
Oh, so are they kind of like the ones for the fiber mesh, right? Like similar to that, like where they have specific properties that don't. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. And they will consider your entire collision object always, which is the best. And even as I smooth, it's still doing it.
Is there a special smooth, or it's still the regular smooth?
There's a special smooth, smooth cloth. But I don't really use it because I'm afraid of edge lengths getting messed up. So, I'm trying not to be so crazy, especially with, and this is like the wind blower. So cool that is.
Oh, interesting.
Sales commercial.
It's like shrink wrapping it.
Yeah, it's like it's supposedly it's blowing it into the piece. But there's all kinds of ones. There's like the move, where it's just like a general move.
But it's considering the volume.
But it's still
nice.
Yeah. And that's what's great. Like it just keeps considering, and then you can keep running the simulation if you want. From there, you can also, if you have something wrapped around him, you can say inflate or expand or contract, and it'll kind of like shrink it based on your underlying mesh.
That's pretty awesome. I gotta give this a try. I just haven't had time or any project that kind of needed it yet, but I think soon.
Yeah, it's like it's too fun not to.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like making like some kind of creature where like the skin is like hanging off bone. You know, that could be kind of cool.
Yep. Yep. I've been using it to simulate like fat and skin on skin. So like if I duplicated this guy and say I had a real fat like bend in his arm or something, you know, like that, instead of sculpting it in, you could shrink one
Mm-hmm.
down, right? And have it simulate against itself and have that skin. You can just use that nudge brush and
Yeah, it's nice to also probably get like some gravity look, right? Like to make it feel like it's hanging because of the weight of the fat.
like this alone, that kind of thing, you know, that compression of the skin, what we're after. Yeah, I mean, it's like a lifesaver because now you can actually art direct your. Because Marvelous is great, but it's really hard to control.
Yeah, yeah, it's not as easy as this when you just kind of set it up and then kind of help with the sculpting. Well, I guess you could sculpt now in Marvelous, but this is much. You're already used to all these tools, and it's already in ZBrush instead of having to import, export, and all that.
Hmm. Exactly. Well, and the best part too, like you can bring something in from Marvelous. It already has your Marvelous um, state, right? The flat state. So you have your UVs, you have your flat state. You bring it in here, you start doing this, and then you have your fitted, and it's art directed, and you can make it match closer to what the client or what your VFX suit wants from it. You know,
Yep.
you need it to match somebody, which is like always the hardest thing when you're dealing with Marvelous. You kind of like do your best and then hope it works out.
Yeah, and there's only
Um,
so many things you can do in Marvelous to, with the time I guess it's also how much time you have, but that you need to maybe touch up in sculpting or whatever.
exactly. So anyway,
Nice.
I'm like
Nice and
obsessed.
satin
I think this
sheets he has. So
so
fancy.
beautiful. How insane that is. It's just crazy that it can like
Yeah, and there's no real performance yet. It seems to be pretty on the fly. Like,
yeah, not really. Yeah, it's great. So if I was to contract, then it would contract on the surface. Of course, the higher res it is, the less quick it is. But you can have it kind of shrink into your, like as if it's wet, and then shape it after. Soon he'll be unveiled.
he's shy.
So fancy. Anyway, yeah, I love it. This new tool is like pretty game changing. You can do something cool with that too. You just have like ghost shapes.
Yeah.
But yeah, give it a whirl. It's really cool. And easy because ZBrush, you know. They make things pretty easy to figure out. How are you feeling?
We're okay. How about you? Are you good to keep going, or you have to take off? Because 1:30 now.
Oh, you know, maybe I should take off. If anyone has any questions for me, let me know. Or if there's any questions from the live stream. But I should probably make breakfast and go to work.
Yeah, life. We have to deal with life.
Hopefully I can finish up this piece too, or maybe we can do another call sometime. finish it up and then I'll post it. But if anyone has any questions, just like Instagram at me. um, but yeah, hopefully it was hopefully it was fun watching this weirdo be created.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for joining and checking out what we're doing. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. But cool. I guess I'm gonna go as well. I have it's Sunday. Have kids, so I have to do some stuff with them. But thank you. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate everybody. Yeah, appreciate you, Crystal, for thinking about this and making this happen. We'll make this happen more soon, more often, so that we can have more fun and maybe invite some other guests.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Miguel.
Well, thanks, guys. With that, we're gonna leave you. Have a great Sunday. Cool. See you guys.
Bye.